All right, I'm going to be etching the this side of the glass, but what I want to do is just to be careful that I don't get any etching cream on the opposite side of the glass. I'm going to put some vinyl on that as well. You could use tape or like contact paper, or ask for some extra vinyl with your Modelo order to protect that, because the etching cream, it will etch any glass that it touches. So you have to be very careful to protect areas where you do not want the etching to occur. So the etching cream actually etches not only glass and obviously mirror, which is glass, but it also, you can use it to etch slate, marble, and porcelain. And what that means is you do not want to use this or do any cleanup with this around porcelain sinks. So stainless steel sinks are preferred for that. Okay, so I'm going to peel this off. The backing off. Let's see, let me do this. Bring this here. I'm going to put this on the back side. This doesn't have to be applied, beautifully. It just has to cover. Okay, and then I will use a knife to trim this. All right, so what I have here is kind of set up a good little working space for myself. And so just using a shallow, storage box lid. This is some of the backing paper from the Modelo, but you could use wax paper or heavy plastic. Just happen to have some of this styrofoam, packing styrofoam laying around. That works very, good for not only elevating the glass, but to keep it from shifting. The other thing that you can use is, this gripper kind of shelf liner. That's also very good for putting under your glass or mirror or whatever you're working on it, and you don't want it to be moving around. Okay, so I'm just going to center this on here, and the etching cream. One of the real benefits to this particular brand of etching cream is that it is reusable. And so what that means is after I'm done using it for this etching project, if I can capture the excess as I scrape it off, I can actually pour it back into the container. So the chemical process, how it happens is through like friction. So when you move the etching cream around, you create the friction, it starts the process of the etching, and it will stop after 15 minutes. So you're going to apply the etching cream, we're going to leave it on for 15 minutes, and then remove it. Once you remove the etching cream and start to move it around again, it reactivates it. So that's how you can use it over and over again. But you do not, once the container's open, it's really optimal that you use it within 6 months, once it's exposed to the air. So just so you know that. And then what I'm going to do is put on my gloves. So the best way to apply this, you want to control it kind of as it goes onto the surface. So if I just kind of pour it on, it's going to might have a tendency to bite in more there. One thing that's really important to kind of stress about the etching cream, it's great for smaller projects or smaller design areas. To get a totally smooth, etched, even look over a large surface is very difficult with this. There's, if you're wanting that, then the sandblasting is preferable, or you can use our Etch Look film, which is a vinyl that actually simulates etching, or there's another product called frosted glass that you can spray on. It's semi-permanent, but that's better for larger areas. So this is really definitely better for smaller areas. So what I like to do is pour the etching cream kind of onto a feeder blade here, and I'm going to use the color shaper tool. And you want to get this on as quickly as possible. So you're not gonna initially, to get it on, just get it on quick. If you're working on something larger, another set of hands, would be great. So I'm pulling this out to the edges. And notice how thickly I'm putting it on. So you can see that the color shaper tool works very well for this. It's just this nice soft rubber. And the other thing you want to keep in mind is kind of like the process of icing a cake. So you can see that I'm holding the tool at a very low angle. The other thing you can do is this tool. Okay, so we'll come back to this in about 15 minutes. We're back with the glass that's been sitting now for 15 minutes. And if you want to leave it longer than 15 minutes, that's totally fine, because after 15 minutes, it stops working. So you could leave it on there, you know, if you forget about it, or, you know, you have something else to do. You know, you don't want to let it dry on there, but the 15-minute window isn't like imperative. Nothing bad will happen to your glass if you leave it on longer than 15 minutes. So it's ready to come off now. And as I mentioned before, the act of moving the product actually will reactivate it. And so once you start moving it and it becomes reactivated, it will start etching into the surface again. So for that reason, you want to make sure that you get it off quickly, you know, as quickly as possible, kind of in one fell swoop. Because if you just, you know, you maybe use a smaller tool and start to scrape the product off, you might etch additional pattern, you know, with the lines in there. So you want to get it off as quickly as possible. So you could use this or a tool like this. I'm going to use this one just to show you something different. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape it off onto the side. I've put this piece of paper under here so that I can easily capture the product, so that I can put it back in the container. And I also have a sponge handy, which I'm going to use then to immediately wipe it off. And then I'll be doing a final rinse over in the sink. If you want, if you're working near a sink, you can just do this and then rinse it off immediately. Now with this, I'm not worried about the Modelo coming off, because this is my final process. I'm not doing anything more. So, but you do want to be careful if you're wanting to leave the Modelo on to do something further or to re-etch it. You don't want to rinse it off in the sink, because the water getting under there will loosen the vinyl too much. So, okay, so here we go. Just pulling this way. And there. Set that down. Use the sponge. And then you can keep kind of rinsing your sponge, or you can also use a wet rag. You want to make sure that you get it off the edge as well, because we don't want that, once we take the vinyl off the back, we don't want that going back under. So I'm going to take this over to the sink now to give it a final rinse, and then we'll show you the finished product. All right, so this has been all rinsed off very well, and now the fun part is pulling off the Modelo pattern so that you can see how good this looks. This is what we call a pick tool or a weeding tool. These are also included with all your Modelo orders, and this makes it really easy to remove the vinyl when you're done creating your pattern. With the glass, you don't have to worry about scratching the glass with this. So what you want to do is just catch the edge of the vinyl and pull it up. Okay, just going to use the microfiber cloth to dry this. Now this was just a single process etch, but you can see that it worked very well, and I was able to get it nice and even just by working it. You'll see when the glass is wet or when the etching is wet, you won't see it, but once it dries, you can really see the pattern. And it's important to note that the etching cream, with using patterns with the etching cream, you cannot use a regular stencil, a regular MYLAR stencil, because the etching cream will bleed under. You absolutely need to use the adhesive masking patterns such as Modelo Designs. And as I said before, they come in thousands and thousands of patterns, so your choices are limitless.